This is David, and I'm Kristen. And today we want to talk about what it feels like to struggle with mental health. Now, before we do, we want to ask you kind of for a big favor. Would you subscribe to our channel? We really want to grow this community so that we can encourage and we can bring hope to as many people as possible. So, would you do us a favor and subscribe? Also, this is our fourth video, 1, 2, 3, 4, where we've talked about this topic. And our first one provides some context for our story. So we're gonna put that link right in the description below, and we're gonna insert it up here as well. So now with that said, can we sit with you?
So, when I was about 16 years old, my mental health took a nosedive. I got really sick really quickly. I felt like I was falling, and I felt like I couldn't stop falling, deeper and deeper and lower, and the longer I fell, the darker things became. I couldn't see anything but dark. There seemed to be no light at the end of the tunnel. Just this hole that I was in. I felt like a complete and utter failure. I couldn't go to school for a few weeks, and when I got out of the hospital, I remember coming back to school, and I remember feeling like an exposed nerve, like I was susceptible to everything, beaten down by the elements. I was so scared that my friends and my teachers would find out, that bullies would have new ammunition to use against me, that my mental health struggle would be weaponized and used to make me feel worse than I already did. My self-loathing and my fear and hopelessness was exhausting. I didn't want anyone to know. I felt so ashamed and confused. I knew I had this gaping wound and that I was still bleeding, but nobody else could see it. And for that reason, it seemed to everyone else that I was fine, that I didn't have a problem. And even when I tried to tell people, the looks on their faces sometimes betrayed their words. They said they understood, but I could see on their face that they didn't. They thought that I was faking. I had this desperate sense to communicate to people who I genuinely was, what I was feeling. Every day was hard. Most of all because I felt like I couldn't trust myself. Like I couldn't trust my thoughts, my feelings, my perception. Like I was betrayed by my own mind. And if you can't trust your own mind, then what can you trust? I felt so alone, painfully alone. I could be in a room full of people and still feel unseen because no one but me really and truly and fully understood how much I struggled. To them, it didn't make sense because I didn't have a broken arm or a sickness that could be felt and touched. I felt like I was screaming on the inside, but no words came out. Crying inside, but no tears left my eyes. I couldn't cry, even though I wanted to. I prayed for tears because then maybe I would have that release. But there was nothing. I felt numb. I felt dead inside, like dry and thirsty grass, like parched land or an empty well. And I hated myself. And I hated myself for hating myself. I felt worthless, like garbage, unwanted, unloved, undone, unworthy. I felt out of control. I wanted to move forward, but my legs, they just wouldn't move. I wanted to ask for help, but most of the time, no words would escape my mouth. Getting out of bed was hard. Not because I didn't want to, but because I just couldn't seem to muster the will or the energy to do so. I felt so weak. But then slowly things started to get better. One day at a time, I would take my medication and I went to some counseling and I opened up to my family. I wrote my thoughts and this helped me make sense of myself. In times where I wasn't sure of the line between truth and lies, I wrote what I knew to be true, regardless of whether or not I felt like those things were true. I wrote to myself. I wrote to God. I wrote to the world that I wanted desperately to hear my voice. I wrote to bring words to my deepest yearning and angst and pain. And gradually that darkness turned to light, and bad days became less common. Good days took their place. I began to heal. My soul came alive again. It was as if I woke up and the pieces of me seemed to fit together again. Life started to make sense again. And now my life is so different than it was all those years ago. I don't want to die anymore. I don't want to disappear. I don't hate myself. I don't see myself as trash or unworthy. And guilt and shame don't get to dictate my story anymore. They had that power for so long. I'm not in the hole that I was in anymore. I see light and beauty, and I hear music and joy, and I have a genuine sense of peace. Not all the time, but sometimes. I still struggle, and I still have bad days, and the depression hasn't gone, and the anxiety is still present, but they don't rule over me the way that they used to. I'm not under their boot like I was, and my marathon towards wholeness is unfinished, as it probably always will be. I still feel nervous when I share these things. I feel somewhat exposed, like taking off armor, and I worry what you will think. I worry that people won't see me as fit to lead, and I still feel alone at times. And sometimes I have a hard time putting one foot in front of the other. I still fear the inevitability of being misunderstood, of being discounted by some people who don't get it, of not being invited to things, of being left out. But those feelings compare in comparison to something that is so much more important to me. And I will risk losing the credibility in someone's eyes to gain the connection to the one who is struggling. I'm okay with some people disliking this video or me, as long as I can bring hope to you. You, the one that is watching this and maybe feels seen and heard right now. You, the one who sees yourself in my story. You, the one who resonates with what I've shared. This is for you. And so please hear me. I want you to know that you are not alone. You are not alone.
There is hope. There is so much hope. Don't give up, please. Don't believe the lies. I'm asking you to hold on, because you are worthy. You are enough. You are beautiful. You are strong. You are brave. You are so much more than you realize. More than atoms and dust. You are marvelous, and we need you. The world needs you, your gift and your story. We need you. We need you at this table. And there is a place for you just as you are, no matter how battered or broken you might feel that you are, no matter what you've done or what's been done to you. If you are watching this and you know that you need help to get out of the hole like David talked about, please ask for it. Please seek professional help. Asking for help is not weakness, it is profound strength. And let today be the last day that you struggle alone. And please remember, I'll remember, that you were made on purpose. You were made for a purpose. And remember that you belong here.
We love you guys.
Love you.